Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast, and also a remarkable figure in the podcasting world, hailing from the Republic of Kenya. He has garnered 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA and also a nomination for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. He has been a presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival and recently participated at the 2025 Podfest. Hey, Sambaza.
Hey Jen, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Welcome.
How was your week?
It's pretty good. The doggy's healing up. She had surgery recently. But yeah, she's doing pretty good. We had election day. I was an election judge. A lot of stuff going on. So, but yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, how did that training go, by the way?
Yeah, it was actually like a 2-day thing. Setting up the room and the day before, and then coming in with the crew and yeah, getting the room ready and welcoming the voters. And yeah, it was a good civic duty served as an
Oh,
election judge. Um, yeah, probably be ready to be a manager next time. But yeah,
always for the community. Always for the community.
I try. I try.
Yeah. Well, my week has been fine. My son got Rookie of the Year in his
Hey,
freshman year. Yeah, for the swim team. So he's got
congrats.
3 more years to get into it, and he did something. There was something that happened at the swim thing with a boy, and we had a talk, a man-to-man talk. I'm gonna put it in a blog,
Hmm.
in my Java with Sambaza blog post, maybe in the next couple of months. But be on the lookout. It's something about teaching a young man things and being inclusivity, and it also comes into podcasting. So it relates into podcasting. Plus, it's something to a teachable moment. Let me put it that way.
Nice.
So,
Okay. Shout out to this chip off the old block there.
I was not a
Congrats.
swimmer. I was not a swimmer. I only swam a little bit, but the kids have become much better swimmers than I have, better than what I would have anticipated them. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, chip of the old block. Yeah. Oh, he got a Mr. Chatter. He got a certificate for Mr. Chatterbox, and I told him, you know what? That's you.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, but no, I'm glad that you had a great week with the family. Thank you guys for tuning in for another great episode. We do have a special guest that we're excited about. We love having conversations with other creators and content creators, podcasters, and producers. And so we will have a great conversation with one of our creator friends. And so yeah, he's going to share about his journey and how you can level up if you are a content creator. I know a lot of our fellow creators tap in with the show. And so this is, some good chit chat that we can share with others. And I think everybody will get something useful from this conversation in the digital space.
I think even without podcasting, we just have to relate it with the real life in this particular instance, as what I'm saying is what you're saying, and I believe that's what we're going to get out of this, out of our guest.
Absolutely.
Um,
I feel like challenging yourself is always a good opportunity. And you want to greet the chat for a second?
yep, I would like to welcome everybody who's in here. Ed Campbell says peace and gratitude, and we got about the wallet. Good evening,
Hey!
everyone. Hey, welcome. Appreciate you coming through. And also welcome everyone who's online right now. We're also on Clubhouse, running on Clubhouse tonight, as well as yeah, all the streaming platforms that we have. So, guys, welcome. I think I'll go to my affirmation before you start introducing the guest here.
Okay.
The affirmation says, "What I have done today was the best I was able to do today, and for that I am thankful." Nice, right?
All right. I like it. Thank you for sharing the affirmation. We definitely try to promote positive mental health behaviors. So we will bring you that affirmation. And I think we will introduce our guests. Okay. So today we are joined by a powerhouse in the podcasting world. He is the host of multiple podcasts, including the West Virginia Uncommon Place, where he shares unique stories and perspectives, a true pop culture enthusiast. This guest brings a deep love for media and storytelling to his work. So, most recently, he was a featured speaker at the 2025 Podfest Festival, sharing his insights on podcasting's evolving landscape. And with years of experience navigating the digital space, he's here to drop some gems on growing your audience, keeping listeners engaged, and making podcasts a sustainable venture. So, with that, we welcome our good friend, J.R. Sparrow.
Howdy, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hey,
Hey,
yeah,
welcome.
welcome. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are y'all doing? Like the weather out here in Atlanta is great. It ain't West Virginia weather. It was about 40 degrees this morning. Then it got up to about 60. It didn't hit that
Mhm.
70 or 80 mark. I'm ready for the heat.
Same here.
Wow.
Same here. All right. Now, before we start asking all these questions, I always look for a country in Africa and look for a proverb that comes from that country. Now, everyone has heard of this country. It's called Lesotho. And yes, we've heard it in the news. People don't know much about it, but here it is, right? It is a landlocked country, which means the whole of South Africa is actually covered by it. There are only two other countries that are like that. It's the only one out of Europe and the biggest in size. And it's called Kingdom in the Sky because it's the only independent country in the world that lies entirely above 1,000 meters in elevation, which is 3,281 feet in elevation, earning them the kingdom in the sky. It's a very beautiful country. Um, they are having one valuable resource, and that's called white gold, which is water. And that's the water that is from the people of Basotho land. Or Basotho people are the ones who are living there, and they provide that water actually to South Africa. South Africa needs that water coming from them because they have so many hills. It has the highest altitude pub, and this is the highest bar you can ever go to. It's right in between them, and it's near South Africa. So people from South Africa come there to drink beer, and they have a certain amount of beer. That's Lesotho for you. Now, JR, here's our proverb. Cattle are born with ears, their horns grow later. What do you think about the proverb? What can you relate with this?
The proverb, to me, it states there's an evolution. There's something that takes place that empowers them to grow those horns.
All right. All right. Great.
Um,
Okay.
if we're gonna go metaphorical with it, though, then I'll say this: a person doesn't reach a certain potential until it's needed. Outside activities, cause and effect. That's what that tells me there. It tells me about cause and effect. Something happens, something grows. There's an evolution to you.
Or we can say you get wiser. You're not born with wisdom, but you get wisdom later. So like we know a cow is going to grow horns at some point in time, and when it's young it doesn't have it, but later on in its older years the horns come out.
Okay.
What about you, Jen? How would you?
Yeah, I mean, I like the evolution take on it. I was also thinking, like, pay attention and listen, um, learn from others, and, you will be able to share what you know as you get more mature and wiser, perhaps. So,
Is there an American proverb that you can relate to? And I mean, you don't have to.
yeah.
Usually we throw in one here and there.
In this instance, no,
No.
but yeah, I like that one. That's great.
All right. All
Thank
right.
you for sharing.
All right. So my question is, just share a little bit about yourself. We already know you, but
Right.
our people know a
All
little
right.
bit about you, and tell us how you got into podcasting and digital media.
Okay. My name is J.R. Sparrow, obviously. I hail from the great state of Virginia, but I'm a transplant to West Virginia. And where I'm from, if you live somewhere for over 20 years, that's where you're from now. So I've been in West Virginia for over 20 years. So I claim that as my home state. Go Mountaineers. Um, so basically, this is what happened with me. I started podcasting just from a cell phone. Anchor was a big thing on the cell phones in 2016. You could literally just do everything. You could edit it. I mean, I could just do anything on there. So I started West Virginia and Commonplace with a partner of mine named Tuesday. Her and I got a little prolific in West Virginia with it, and we broke up like as a team. She took the name and some other things with it, gave me a little cash. She went on and turned it into a different show with certain properties that we had done with it. But she gave me back the name. When she gave me back the name, that's when I got revamped and I decided, hey, I'm going to do a solo podcast. I'm going to interview people. I'm going to do a personal journal so that we can build on the things that we're taught by gurus to give intimacy, but give them that juice. And after that, with podcasting, people started handing me cameras. And next thing you know, I got into lifestyle influencing.
Nice.
Wait, about that, you got handed cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, things don't come. They say nothing is free. How you get this? How do you get the free stuff?
All right, so this is basically how it worked. All right, with the company that I worked for previously, I worked for the largest employer in the United States. That's not the government. That's only one place. That's Walmart. I was introduced to different people, and I learned about lifestyle influencer things like how to, get free microphones, this, and that. And basically, it was create an avatar of yourself, but not of yourself. So anything that I do, it would be like me taking these set of keys, right, and using them in a picture or in a still or something, and I would do that or something that I already had owned, like a thing of macaroni or something. Anything that I could use for product placement for someone else, I would attach it to things. At that time, Instagram was a really big place where they just wanted still pictures. And this is like 2016, 2017, at that time. So I took that along with podcasts and I was like, hey, these can go hand in hand. And next thing you know, I started reaching out to brands. And this is the thing I did. I learned from a person about advertising and marketing. And they said, this is the one thing you need to know. Before you go talk to anyone, you have to have an elevator pitch. And I said, an elevator pitch. And they said, this is an elevator pitch. Imagine you're on the bottom floor of any building. You get in that building. You get in that elevator. You're looking at all the buttons that are on there. There's one button always missing, and that's floor 13, right? And you know why floor 13 is missing? Because it's not part of the process. So I said, okay. It was kind of confusing to me. So they said, what's the process of getting in an elevator going somewhere? Going up. And why do people go up? Because they have to go up somewhere to take care of some type of business. They need to have an outlet. They need to have some way to progress. People don't go up in the elevator for any reason but to progress in life, right? So that was how I was taught about elevator pitch. From that point on, what I was taught were some key points in podcasting. So we do a show. All three of us do one together. I was taught this amazing word, curation. When we plan and we position, that is what shows people we have structure, we have stability. And nobody wants to be on a seesaw when it comes to business, when it comes to monetization, which that's another topic. But once I learned that stability, that's how the free stuff came about. All in that one little thing. Sorry for taking so long on that one.
I know.
We needed that. Because people will be like, wait, how do you get free stuff? And then now you've answered. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we are thrilled to have JR with us. Fun fact, we were introduced to JR from the Empowered podcasting community, and he frequently shares about what he has going on. And so I definitely reached out so that we could pick his brain and share that with you guys. I thought would be a great opportunity to have an episode about this type of topic. So definitely glad that you were able to do this, especially when you're traveling.
Oh, yeah, that's what they call me Visa. That's one of my nicknames. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, awesome. And so monetization. So that topic of monetization can be a major challenge for podcasters. You definitely want to monetize as a podcaster. What would you say the first step that you would recommend for someone looking to make money from their podcast?
Okay, so let me break down one thing simple that everybody's going to say to you. Let's go into production. You produce a show, you record it on any device. I don't care how you record it. After you're done recording it, you know, some people can get away with not editing, but if you do have to edit your show, have an editing software or digital what is it, digital audio workstation. If you're an Apple person, your life is easy. If you're an Android, you know, Windows person, you got Audacity and different things that are free. Um, make a sound that works for you. And I'm saying it exactly like that. Make a sound that works for you. So if you don't edit, if you do distraction editing, you're just making your life long and hard. But if you edit for clarity, that's different. So I will say if you have bad audio, always know at the end you can fix it. But having decent equipment that you actually put near your mouth to perform or to provide a podcast is fine. Just make sure that you're making a clear sound and you got feedback. That's the only thing I ask. All right, so monetization works exactly like this in podcasting, and it's real simple. After you're done with the show, you provide show notes. If people actually interact with your show notes, that's the first step to telling you that people are more or interested in you beyond your podcast. If no one's ever interacted with your show notes or even left you a comment somewhere, that's a factor you got to worry about because anybody can get on here and I can sell water to a well and all that other stuff all day long. But if you don't actually have the interaction outside of your podcast, which I tell everybody, build that gradually. It's not a 30-day thing. It's not even a 6-month thing. Because I know people that still got podcasts that have been out for a year and never heard from a soul. Find a way to make community. So the gurus tell you how to make community, they tell you go here or there, whatever. Find whatever works for you. For me, for instance, I'm a video gamer and I'm into movies and stuff. So Discord was a place that I went and I built me a community. Then I took them away from that community and I've got a messaging app called Wired, which is an end-to-end encryption. I'm not giving them a shameless plug or anything, but so that they can get intimate detail with me, so they can see what it's like in the life of J.R. Sparrow and Stacy Sparrow or whatever we're doing. All right. So from that point on, once you do that little bit of that after information, affiliate marketing, what better way could I do something right now than to sell your podcast and the items that you two are selling right now? Like when you two make t-shirts and put those, and I put those on and I say, hey, if you want this t-shirt, you can get it at T Republic, blah, 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 for $15. If I can sell one t-shirt, 2 t-shirts, well, guess what? You can monetize because someone looked at your show notes. They followed you beyond looking at a social media post. You've actually showed someone that, hey, I have a value. We're not talking about authenticity. I'm not doing any of that. That's somebody else for another day. But that actually shows you have a value, that people are going to listen to you. So, for instance, with me, I sell projectors. Those projectors are like $500 to $1,500.
Right.
So if I can move somebody to do that, I knew I could get someone to buy a speaker from me or something like that. And when you don't get that feedback, don't get discouraged, because the next thing with monetization, if you can't do it there and you really are gung ho on doing it, even though you don't have that spark yet, local sponsors. A local sponsor is this easy to get. We talked about the elevator pitch, right? Well, here's the thing. Actually showing podcast discoverability, and that's where I'll go into listen migration in a little bit, but actually showing that your podcast is discoverable. Stacy's show for this video game called The Sims, right? Sims Universe. Her show, when you look on Apple, is the 8th item that you see under Sim Universe. So people know she's an authority in Sims, the video game. When you go to my show, I cover an artist named Frankie Beverly. He passed away, and I did a very touching episode, played a little music, and told a story about me. I show up as a 3rd or 4th show there. So looking at the SEO that people talk about, I'm not talking about SEO. I'm just saying getting on Apple, getting on somewhere and searching your podcast in the title description. If you're in that 1 through 10, if you're on the first page, 1 through 25, you know you got something going there because you're a topic. People have searched for you. People are looking for you. When you know that you have an attraction, that's going to give you attention, and then that's going to give you an attachment. The 3 A's as I give people. And once you have that, that's monetization right there. because someone is willing to step out of the podcast and go to the after podcast. But if you can't get out of that relic, retune it, refine it, and work on it. But if you can't get out of it, you got to look at the other hustle, like the lifestyle or something else, and make money outside of podcasting, but with your podcast instead of funneling a business. I mean, if you got a business, funnel it, but that's another person
Right.
or something.
Okay.
Hmm.
Sambaza.
It's very, very interesting regarding the monetization. Let's go over to the chats. About the wallet has some comments here. He said, "Good evening, everyone. Yes, welcome
Good
to."
evening.
Yeah, I said, I'm here for the dead cat mic cover.
He's so silly.
Shout out to Anchor. This was back in 2016. Yeah, 2016. You were ahead of me because I caught on to Anchor in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was already gone by then. It was gone by 2020. It was
Look, we were told don't use Anchor. We're not gonna say who said that, who said that, but we were told don't use.
Can I get 2 seconds on that?
sure.
All right, so here's one thing about Anchor. Anchor was a free service, and the thing about a free service is you get what you. And I tell anybody this: if you don't pay for a service, you get exactly what you get. Something free, so you get everything free. So when it's free, it has no value. It has no nominal way of progressing.
I mean, it served its purpose, though. You know.
I mean, I'll say today. I mean, I left my pay provider and I'm back with Spotify for creators, so I'm not going to say nothing bad about them.
Right.
I'm going to say at the end of the day, I'll look at evolution and I'll look at what's going to go on for discoverability inside podcasting. Who's going to push me further?
And I think I did have it as a starter because without that, I don't think I would have started podcasting. I wasn't going to pay Podbean or anyone else at that time because it didn't make any sense. I was like, this is something new. I have to understand what I'm paying for. So I think when I started off from it, it was one way to say, okay, this is your blueprint. What do you do? Good thing is I still have my masters because I was recording from Zoom and then keeping them, then uploading them to Anchor. So it wasn't directly to Anchor. As people were getting scared, with the Anchor deal, everybody didn't want to put everything out there. So yeah, that's how I kept my originals. Some people just record it over there. But one thing also, if you came from Anchor and you want to put your stuff over to YouTube, you can't. They have something on it. Yeah, you can't put stuff
Oh yeah.
audio. I've tried that. That's one of the hindrances that I've had with that. So maybe I need to take mine directly from my portfolio and send it up to YouTube, and then probably make episodes that way. But it's something I'm thinking of. Yeah. So we'll see. About the wallet says hashtag elevator pitch. So he's agreeing with the elevator pitch. It's a good pitch. 13th floor is considered bad luck. I thought it was
I've never heard that.
I thought it was 7th floor. Yeah, you don't get in a hotel. You don't get the 13th floor. It says it does light editing.
Yeah, inside a bank, you never get a 13th floor either. Most buildings don't have one.
Usually, they say that's where they put the machinery, servers, and everything else, but people don't have that. He says, I'm on the top just by show name. What about copying other people's titles? That's a good question. What do you think about that?
If you're using it for episodes, that's fine. If you're using it as your podcast name, no.
Right.
Okay. All right. We have the healing Denise with the healing session, heal, empower, and release. Welcome to the show. Hi, family. So, about the wallet has a question. What are your thoughts on building a commercial for your products during the show? I've seen people do this too.
All right, so I'll give you an example. Like sometimes with the projectors and stuff, right? I was telling her earlier. I have this like camera thing. It's one of those Osmo DJ pocket things that I use. Like that's what I'm using right now to record with. Yeah. So I'll have that set up. I'll have my cell phone or Stacy. Like she's like right here where I'm working. Obviously we're in a hotel room. She's got a camera on me right now. So products right now while we're doing this, I'm doing something that may make it to TikTok. Obviously, I don't have y'all's permission to have your face, so I got it turned the opposite way because we had to sign NDAs and stuff for that. But like just me in a corner with a light hitting me like it is now, that projector could be right here, and even though I'm not saying that now, I could do a voiceover later. So yeah, I do commercials all the time. Product placement, in other words, yeah. I will do that. Now, obviously, since I didn't have y'all's permission on the show and we didn't sign no agreements, which we don't have to sign stuff like that, but I'm just using that as an example. I wouldn't just blatantly, show this deodorant or whatever it is, and say, "Oh, Old Spice," blah 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 blah. I wouldn't do anything like that. I would never name drop an item. I would let it be a part of the
But I
attire.
mean, if you had a brand deal with, like we were talking, that would be a different story.
Oh yeah, if I had a brand deal with this podcast right here, I would be flaunting this out, and I'd be like Mark Ronick, snapping,
Or even with Buzzsprout. I mean, here, keep podcasting. I would do that.
But
too.
and then that could be a tactic too.
Yeah.
We've talked about that too. That could be a tactic to bring the brands to you, by giving them a little something for free, and then like the first one's free. That whole thing.
Like what CapCut told me. CapCut told me, "Oh, it's free, man. I used it up for creating short videos. By the time I got to day 30, they said, "Oops, no, you gotta pay. You're using this way too much for free."
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of CapCut, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, CapCut's a whole other deal. We'd have to do a secret podcast with the voices are nominalized on it to talk about CapCut.
Right.
I ain't even gonna go there with y'all on that one.
Oh my goodness.
I think we got this
question.
Right. So we go to Healing Session. That says, Denise says, "I used to have Anchor. Okay, so just upload to YouTube." So she's talking about the uploading of videos to YouTube on our shows. Everybody can do that. Actually, you can do that.
Yeah,
if
you
want
can
to do
use
your
your
audio.
RSS feed.
Right.
Oh, okay, we answered that one. Okay.
And then the Nope 13th flow. So yeah, so we have another question, and then we'll go back onto the show. What is your steady, predictable income? I think do we have a question on that, or
Oh, yeah.
it's
Or do you
one
want
of
to answer to that? You want to answer to that?
I think we can start with that and then go into what we're gonna.
All right, so the steady income is an investor in the show. Forget all that stuff about sponsorship and all that stuff. In all honesty, once you get to a certain plateau, get into someone that'll invest in your show. There are amazing companies that need tax write-offs, and people fail to realize this. And I'm talking about the companies like Rode, like Anchor, Nebula. Any of these companies like that need tax write-offs to a certain degree. Obviously, if you get in line with one, let's do a good one. Let's say JLab, for instance, right? JLab would probably want to do a product swap. I'm not talking through TikTok store. I'm talking about like a product swap, like give you a product, you display it, show it in your videos whenever you're doing something else for somebody else. So for me, steady income comes actually from now, because of the infrastructure of actual ads being a little crazy for independent podcasters at this moment. And I will state that as a record, it is very hard. You can get sponsors all day long. People are going to say that, but I'm going to tell you straight up, if you don't have the proper elevator pitch and you're not doing audio that transfers to video or some type of video expression at the end, you're not making money right now. But for me, steady income comes from actually with Stacy's podcast, where we do movie reviews and we go places and do things like that. A company likes a natural video. They don't care about all this CapCut stuff. So we go to Willie's taco place, or we went to Cadoba. I'm saying that wrong. We went to Chipotle and Willie's Taco in 1 week. They're all the same restaurant, basically. We shot small videos. You go in, you take the video first and you find a contact somewhere at these companies. Finding contacts at a company, and here's a secret: you get on LinkedIn. Don't let anybody tell you to try to do all these extra little apps. Go on LinkedIn and find out who the brand ambassador is, or go talk to one of these gurus, because sometimes they let stuff slip up. There's a good guy, and I'm not trying to name drop, but I'm gonna say his name, Justin Moore. Justin Moore sometimes will put little nuggets out there for free, and all you got to do is be brave enough to take the rejection.
Okay.
You're gonna get rejected the first time. You're gonna get blocked like the Kenbei. You can get blocked by like Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm talking about a hard block, like at least the first 20 times, until you make sense of why you're getting off the elevator and why you're going on that floor. That's the last part of it for the elevator pitch. And then the thing that gets people is gurus and everybody else wants to say, oh, what's unique about your podcast?
Mhm.
Let's stop that. Everybody has a voice, everybody has a different connotation in what they say, and everybody has a different accent. So that already makes you unique from there.
Right.
Here's the thing. There's two people. There's charismatic people, which makes them a charismatic enigma, and then there's people that are flat. If you're a flat person, what makes you dynamic is your facial expression if you're using video, or if you're using audio, the octaves you use when you're talking. If you just talk like this and this is your podcast, take it to PBS or somebody, see if they'll sponsor you, or NPR, see if they'll do something with you, or go be some type of commentator. But if you're a podcaster, your voice has range and you do things with it. That's what makes you unique. It's not the content, because we can all do the same content about the news every day. But if I got
Right.
that Walter Cronkite sound, or if you've got that sound that nobody can hear, has not heard, that's your selling point.
Okay.
I agree. That's deep. That's deep. You're right.
Definitely.
Shout outs to LinkedIn. Yeah. After Podfest is when I started working on LinkedIn, because everyone was on LinkedIn, which is funny. I like to follow people. I don't like to connect for some odd reason. Right now, I just want to follow people. I don't want to connect yet. Maybe it's gonna come up, because they already know who I am. If I post something, you already know it. You'll see it if you see it. But I don't know.
You can't
But
really assume that, though. You
have
can't really
followers.
assume that.
I have followers though. I have my little bit of community in
But
there.
the connection, I think, is important. So, but no, go ahead in the outline, Sambaza.
There has been some communication,
Mhm.
and you're right. You have something going on, guys. We'll continue here, and our theme today is leveling up your game. So we have this question about listening migration. Tell us about listener migration and how you incorporate social media sites with your podcast.
Okay. So listener migration is something that I started a while ago, and I coined that phrase because there was something that's wrong in podcasting, and it's been going on for a long time. Everybody tells you how to get listeners to go here and there, but they don't tell you how to take those listeners from that platform and get them to meet you somewhere, or to niche down and actually grab them. So here's an example, for instance, social media sites. Let's go with Threads, because that's the newest one, right?
Mhm.
Threads has two realities. It has a video, which people don't use very much. Well, it has three realities. It has a text form that a lot of people use to get engagement, and it's something that's very comfortable for people. And then it gives them pictures still, but they can just go to Instagram for that. But what Threads does, it makes it really tight that you can go into a thing and you can highlight podcast threads. You can go in there and there's nothing but podcasters, or you can go out in the world and you can post things directly there. So here's an example. You got a show. Your show is on Spotify, Pandora, or iHeart. I'll use them first. You have a share button, and this is organic growth for your show. You can share your show to Threads automatically from there. So you publish your show on Tuesday, you can share it there. Put a hashtag, blah, blah, blah. You would be amazed how many podcasters didn't even know that they could use a share button inside those apps to move their show along. Well, then there's another thing, reciprocity. You network with people. You meet a nice lady from St. Louis. You meet a worldly man from Africa by way of Texas right now. And guess what? You meet a guy that's from the East Coast. That's three people that are in three different destinations that can share that show across listener migration. So we pinpoint where the listeners are. So here's the thing that you have to do. You have to have a call to action that says, hey, because some people say, oh, join the email list, and that's an easy way to find them. But here's the thing. We'll say that Sambaza is big on Instagram. His call to action somewhere in his episode, not at the end, but somewhere in his episode to excite people. Find me on Instagram. Send me DMs on Tuesday at 6:00 your time. So he gets DMs 24 hours a day. But guess what? He can pinpoint old JR in Toledo, Ohio, sent him one at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But he knows who I am. He knows that it's connecting to a person. He can see that that's beyond any analytic that he's going to find on Apple Connect or somewhere else. He directly finds them. So when you encourage people with a simple call to action, it can be clever, it can be sneaky, whatever you want to do. But that call to action brings people in, and if someone's hesitant, well, guess what? There's other formats. There's people that are on Tumblr. Tumblr is a place where they build hashtags. Nobody talks about Tumblr, but there's a person there. Meeting everyone at their Facebook by sharing your podcast on there, not engaging everywhere. I'm not telling you go out here and go do 50 million, like engage everywhere like that. I'm just saying put your show out there everywhere by sharing it. And that is a way to pull people in because they're going to see your show somewhere, and you may not be engaging in all those communities, but hey, put your show out there on Reddit in the R podcast section twice in a year. Well, guess what? Somebody's going to find it. Somebody's going to pull it up, and then you can say, "Hey, did we have anybody from Reddit come on?" That's another call to action. Did we have any listeners come from Reddit? If we did, could you leave me a message over on Reddit so we can talk? I want to know how you found the show, this, and that. I want to know about the discovery. So that's the thing that, like, when gurus are telling you doing all this stuff, they don't tell you to go full forward like that with something. They tell you to just stay on one platform and stick it out here and hope people come find you, blah, blah, blah. Nah. You can share that show on your 15-minute lunch break, and this is what I teach you on listener migration. You can share it on that 10-minute time that you reflect sometime in your day, because everybody has 15 minutes that they don't do nothing. And sharing your show or positioning your show in these different places is as quick as sharing it and having every social media just logged in on your phone, not doing anything with it, and touching it. And the podcast catcher does all the work.
And all of the social media sites, even like a Snapchat, for example, like placing it there, right?
Okay, so let's talk about that. That's the thing, and I'm gonna make this very quick about that. You can go over to YouTube and check out a video on the whole presentation. I was able to finally release that. But here's the thing. Here's what Snapchat does. Snapchat gives you advertising and marketing. We're in Orlando 2 years ago. And I'm a big wrestling fan. Me and Stacy love the WWE. Ooh, yeah. And WrestleMania was taking place in St. Petersburg. Something else was going on in Tampa, but we were in Orlando. But guess what? It was all in the same weekend. So podcast got my attention on Friday. Saturday was Royal Rumble. Me, Stacy, and some podcasters at the podcast 2 years ago dropped a show a few days before the Royal Rumble. I shared it on Snapchat. I left it at the hotel that we were staying at, and I left it at the place where the podcast was being presented. And if you need instruction on any of this, I have that stuff there, and you can catch me any Friday during my working hours, which I won't charge anybody unless we're doing a podcast audit. But if you need help learning how to do it, you can always email me and I can go through steps. I share the show at these places and on International Drive. International Drive is a big place where they got the largest McDonald's, blah, blah, blah. So I share the show in all these locations on SnapMap. And with the SnapMap, I will tell you that if you do watch the video or the instruction that I left on there, I'll tell you about the safeties and different things on that, but I'm not going to do it here because it'll take forever. So I shared in these places. Her show within like 24, we got to a 48-hour mark. She had 1,000 downloads. Because we put it on the SnapMap, and SnapMap, think of it like this. All the Karens and everybody else that's nosy gets on the SnapMap. They can click on your podcast, be it iHeart, Amazon, Spotify, any of those. They can click on it, and you can start the podcast a second or a minute in, so they're already inside your podcast. And obviously, to get your download, that's 60 seconds. But we're not talking about scamming nobody, but we're just talking about how you can use that. So just like when you share it on Instagram, like how you do your story and stuff like that, you do it on the SnapMap, and this like basically put your show there. So let's do advertising and marketing 101 real quick. All right. We're at the venues, right? The shows, every time you put a show on the SnapMap, it stays there for 36 months. So advertising is, I put it at this place. Marketing for you, which is another form of advertising too, is every time a different event goes on and someone checks on that SnapMap, guess whose podcast is still on there and that episode's still there? Okay. So you have organic marketing and advertising, because the marketing was you were smart enough to go to the event or be somewhere or have some friends to share your show somewhere. And
so you can put the link. It's not just saying I'm in this location and here's my picture.
The link to your direct show to that episode if you want to get that specific.
Okay.
So that wrestling episode, we shared it everywhere up through St. Petersburg and all the way up to Hulk Hogan's little place in Venice, or out there at the beach out there, Clearwater. And people ate that show alive because, hey, these are podcasters. We don't know who they are. He's got a country hillbilly accent. She's got a southern accent. The other guy was from somewhere up north, so he sounded like he's from Philadelphia. And they're talking about wrestling. We're interested. So we niched down for a moment and we got us a market right there. And then after that, I went back to normal podcasting. But here's the thing: marketing, advertising can be done there. And here's the way that those listeners migrate.
Mm-hmm.
They come to your show and they find it. I've already told you I had that killer CTA to tell them that, hey, if you came to the show from Spotify or from Snapchat, let me know if you don't mind. Not everybody's going to buy that or bait that, but guess what? I didn't take an email address or anything like that. But that person is finding a way to catch me. And obviously, you set up a link tree, which everybody should have a link tree or something set up that gives multiple ways so that you're meeting everybody at their Facebook. And when I say everybody at their Facebook, I'm meaning their social media because everybody, Facebook is a generalized term now. You got to meet everybody at their door, but that doesn't mean you have to come through the door and shake it or whatever. You can advertise from the outside for everybody, and they can decide how you come in. And that's what the gurus don't tell you. That's what they just tell you, stick right down one narrow road. Let's go on a linear expression. Linear expressions only work in math.
Mm-hmm.
And in podcasting, it doesn't. You have to meet everybody at that place. So listener migration works like that.
Okay. That is pretty cool. I never thought of using Snapchat in that way. And there's different levels of look, I've found out about the different levels of Snapchat. Okay. But this is some new stuff. So yeah. Thank you for sharing. Call to action.
And I think also, I don't know if it transcends with different generations. Because yesterday I was driving with my son and I told him I'd do a blog. He says, "Man, you got to quit that. Blogging is old school. You got to put your stuff on IG. No, Twitter." He said Twitter was a blog.
Yeah, X is.
And when I thought about it, he's right. It's a blog. You can write stuff there, and it gives you can give like a chronological.
No, people are definitely still blogging. People are getting paid to blog. You know what I mean? So
you could take that blog to Threads, and that's another way to get community and make a hashtag that goes directly to your podcast. And guess what? It's something that's quick, 15 minutes. You could do it every, twice a week or once a week. And guess what? You got an engagement, and you're reaching out to your.
But it's just the way he told me. He told me, "Dad, you got to stop that. You can't do a blog. No, it's ancient." And he repeated it twice.
You know how these kids are. If they can't see it, then they can't see it. But you have to show them.
But it's telling you there's a new generation. Maybe something I need to think about. Maybe if I'm trying to get to that particular.
Well, I mean, obviously, just based on this conversation, there's one way to skin a cat, right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, that's one way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a few more in the chat before we go back to the outline. If you wanted to.
Right. Denise says here, "I see people promoting their products in the beginning of their episode."
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about that?
Product placement all depends on how you build the intimacy level with your audience. If you know that you don't have a deep intimacy, then obviously you're going to put it at the beginning of your show. You got to get it quick and get it out the way, or they may, you may lose some people while you're doing that. Or if you have a core audience and they know, it's all in how, and I don't want to use the word groom, but it's all in how you all interact inside that relationship. Me, for instance, I'm going to be subtle. You'll see it around. I'm not going to even touch it, but it's there. Or if I'm doing a lifestyle video for TikTok or something, obviously you're going to see me with the projector. Or you won't see me, but you'll see whatever's playing on it, and you'll know, hey, JR and Stacey are watching a movie outside somewhere in West Virginia, or somewhere in the United States or Canada or wherever.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think there's different ways to slide it in. You can even for a show like what we're doing, we could have a segment where our favorite things, or something that we. Yeah, I think there's different ways that you can organically incorporate it in. So yeah.
And I think, Jen, it's the beauty about podcasting. It is never going to be one way of doing it. There's always going to be different forms and ways of doing it, and you can't. And that's why the gurus can say, "Do this, blah blah blah." No. There's always something else which fits a different crowd.
Right.
like what I just learned on the last 30 days. About the wallet asks, what AI tools do you use?
Oh wow. Opus Clips is number one for clipping. I know people use some other random studio thing, but Opus Clip has got it down packed because you can tailor it a certain way. Chat GPT like this. When I do show notes, now I'm gonna walk y'all through this, and this is for any novice podcaster. I use two different AI apps. I use this thing called Podcastle AI. And I pay my little $13, $14 for it because here's the thing: I put my audio inside of it and it gives me a transcript. I have and listen, you got to train AI when it comes to transcripts. When it gets that
Mm-hmm.
transcript, and I don't pay for Chat GPT, I got that free version. I will break my if we do our show, you got to break it up into two parts to do run it through Chat GPT, and I will let Chat GPT know that hey, it's a part two coming out of this transcript. I will run it
Mm-hmm.
through that. I will ask it to make um podcast show notes with strong SEO terms for this month. Then I will ask it to create hashtags. Let me know what is on topic. And obviously, where I'm not a political or anything like that, is certain things that I want to keep with, but I want what's the number one adjective right now? Because an adjective describes something. So an adjective doesn't have a positive or negative, it just describes. It is what
Right.
it is. So once I do that, I'm set. So that's how I use AI. It's ChatGPT, Podcastle, and when I'm on the flip side and I'm using the iPad, I'll use Ferret. Like if we were hooked up doing a show right now, I'd have Ferret hooked up on the iPad, still run StreamYard, and have Ferret in the background to get the sound right for the audio, for the audio portion. Because some people upload video and audio. I'm the type I'll upload video and I'll upload audio just because I can do some more tweaking with the audio. Because I ain't gonna put audio back to video. I ain't that good. Um, so that's what I use AI wise, but I tailor make my Chat GPT and not take up all the memory, but I make it to where it makes sense when I read it, and then I pass it along to someone in my camp. And you should always have somebody in your camp, even if it's only your Stacy or just one person or two people. Have somebody read it and say and get their honest opinion. Oh, I don't like it your way, JR. It should be this way. So guess what? I'm gonna take her views and my views, put them together in that AI, and get those show notes on point like Steve Nash and run with it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Very
I'm liking
nice.
this. All right. Now, looking back at all the things you've accomplished so far, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want my
Yeah.
legacy to be this one thing that anybody that was bootstrapped or was in a position where they did not have the budget for what they needed to do, I could give them enough advice that they could go from a bootstrap situation to a situation where their podcast became a monetary value that they enjoyed.
Mhm.
That's great. I think, yeah, that's what we all aim as podcasters. You want to monetize, be great at what you're doing. I think we have one more question. No, one something that was put in here by Denise said, "This is great to know. The CTA, the call to action definitely brings people in. Tumblr, 100%."
Yeah, Tumblr is where them hashtags come from. I don't know what they do out there. I
Uh-huh.
check it out once a month. Social media exercise. I look at every social media app within a 30-day period,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and I only allot for podcast stuff
Mhm.
4 hours for building stuff up. You can get a get some type of laptop. You can program the stuff for TikTok. You can do Hootsuite or whatever you have to, Business Meta Suite to automate everything. It's no
Oh.
reason to be on social media every single day. Like when you talk to me, people think I'm weird. My phone doesn't ring. I don't have any notifications on anything. Everything's on my time.
Mhm.
When it's not on my time, I mean, you can call me on the phone and I'm gonna look at it and see it, or I'll see it on my watch. But if you try to reach me on social media, man, you're dead in the water and I mean, I lose some opportunities that way, but peace of mind and I keep my peace.
You recommend using a tool that way and not manually touching all of your social media?
Um, I will say this: if you properly place things and you look at your statistics, Does this work here? Is this time frame right? Look at that type of stuff. Look at those analytics. Take time to do that.
Okay.
Don't worry about how many downloads and this and that, but actually look at the analytics to see how it moves for you and if it works. And it gets the engagement you're looking for, then you're fine. But
Okay.
if you're a person that just stays dead in the water and just does it 6, 12, 6, you're never gonna move anything. You're gonna just be stuck because the social medias don't want us to get ahead. Anybody, they're gonna push it down because their agenda's not getting pushed. So I want to get my agenda pushed while they're pushing theirs.
Okay. So, I mean, it would behoove you to have some sort of strategy, and using these tools, allows you to, utilize your analytics, like you said, and not just randomly post. If you're up at 4 o'clock, that's when it get posted. We ain't gonna name no names on who does that. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's when it gets posted. But yeah, actually, like you said, take the time to do that. That's yeah.
Jen, they have Meta Suite that I've been using so far. It
Mhm.
does help. So I get all the video clips, and I put them. This only goes to Meta, Instagram, and Facebook. That's where
Okay.
it's advertised. And then I think Threads, it'll hit Threads too. And then LinkedIn, I'll go in a different way, and
You can schedule stuff there.
I schedule stuff there with
Schedule
LinkedIn.
it. Okay.
Yeah, so you just schedule one time beginning of the week, and then the rest of the week you just catching up to now responding to people
Whoa,
that
whoa,
say good stuff, and you're like, hey, thank you, appreciate
whoa,
stuff like
whoa,
that, and have engagement. What's wrong
Wait.
with that?
whoa, whoa.
You don't do that?
I'm sorry, sir. If this is April, I've already
Um,
got stuff. I've already got the whole month of May scheduled.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take your time and build a slow process that works for you.
Mhm.
But I don't want to have to live week by weekend hoping that I got enough content to do this with or that. Because you
Yeah.
already have the content built up anyway, right?
Right.
So why not just take one day and take 4 hours? Take a Saturday. Well, you're busy on Saturdays with swimming and stuff, but if you got some time on Sunday, because everybody has some kind of access on Sunday, like some extra time somewhere. I'll take an hour and I'll work on it.
Mhm.
I might take 4 weeks, 4 weeks in the month and take 1 hour on Sunday and just do that. But by the time I get to the end of the month, May's already done, June's already done.
oh yeah, that's what I have. I have like some of these videos that we set up. So I have like we'll produce like maybe 7 clips. I'll take 3 of the clips, put it for this week, and then I'll take 2 clips and throw them somewhere in the year. Like will be like a let's
Repurpose.
yeah. So
Yeah, definitely.
so those will come maybe December, and some will be in the time when I have my downtime. Say where I travel, right? So if I'm traveling that month, I'm out of the country. I don't. I'll be so busy, I will not even be able to touch anything. So at that point, you'll still see stuff coming out, but I'm not there.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I can engage with you when you like when you say, "Hey, thank you about this. Oh, I like this." I'll be like, "Okay." So they think that I'm there or I'm around, but oh, I could be in another part of the world.
So, what was the one you used to schedule, Jr.?
For what thing? TikTok or
For
what?
Well, I guess like
Well,
if you're doing Instagram or
our Instagram Meta Business Suite for that, or
Yeah.
like
okay,
there's a paid service called Hootsuite that does everything.
that's
But
the one you said.
yeah,
Okay.
Hootsuite is fairly expensive. I use the free one
Yeah.
because sometimes you can get that nugget. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm bootstrapped on things. Sometimes you can get one that'll give you like a 90 days free. So I'll let it do 90 days worth of content, and then right at day 89, I'll just discontinue that, and I'll move on to something else. But here's the thing: LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, I said LinkedIn. A few other ones have schedulers as long as you're using a laptop and a browser.
Okay.
I will just schedule things like that because I've seen these people that just go guerrilla and they just stay on their phone, boom, boom, boom. They produce everything somewhere else, but they do everything from a phone. Oh no, my trusty laptop or
Mhm.
your tablet enabled with desktop version, because you can
Mhm.
do your desktop version. So let me not discourage iPad and Galaxy tablet people from not using those. As
Right.
long as you're using the desktop view or version of it on your browser, you can get it done. Now, if I did that from a phone, nowadays we got capability, but a few years ago, your phone wasn't doing all that. So
Mhm.
you could do it that way. But yeah, I take a laptop, schedule that stuff, get it out the way. But Hootsuite is fairly expensive, and there's other alternatives because there's always somebody bringing up something new. So I would look around AppSumo and those different places like that, and you'll find some type of scheduler. All you have to do is just make sure, and this is one thing I tell everybody: go to the Dollar Tree and buy a notepad and place all your logins in there so you don't lose them, because there's a lot of logins that do all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Put your logins on pen and paper. Don't think that this digital age is going to save you. Pen
Yeah,
and paper, and lock it up somewhere or put it somewhere where you're safe.
definitely.
I have that.
That's a good
Or
idea.
notepad, or use a notepad
Yeah.
and have it locked. That's it.
Yep.
Or word process, word process thing you document, just lock it there. Notes, anything, and then you just lock it there. So each time you update, you just go in there and update when you have to change it. Lifesaver. Appreciate that,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
Much.
absolutely.
All right, Jen. With that, I guess we're gonna say, JR, I'm gonna ask Jen to take us home. I really appreciate you coming on the show, but
If he
JR
could
is
share his socials and how people can
yes.
find his podcasts.
All right, very simple, people. Like I talked about earlier, Linktree. You can go to Instagram, look right there in the bio, the Linktree's right there, and you can find your home inside of the West Virginia and Commonplace universe. Be it any of the podcasts. If you want a good show, Sparrow Under Review is the best show that is produced with me and my lovely wife Stacy. The other show, West Virginia and Commonplace, it is a wild show. I call it the circus because I do every and anything on there. There's no niching down in that. And every single Wednesday, I do West Virginia and Commonplace presents interviews and sessions, which you all will be invited on at some point. And interviews and sessions is exactly what it is. It's a session like we're doing now that turns into an interview that goes deeper, and it's almost like listening to 2020 in audio version, if you've ever heard of that news magazine.
Nice. And I just thought of another way that we know you. I can save that for later, but it just clicked now, and I didn't realize it. You're probably gonna laugh. And I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. That's so funny. But anyway, any other final thoughts?
I thought you were gonna tell us. I'm waiting for it.
Oh, I was gonna save it for later.
Okay. Later, as in on the backstage in the green room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was it a certain TV show I was on?
No, were you on TV?
Oh yeah.
Oh, tell us about that.
I was on Judge Judy.
That's so funny.
That's what I thought you were talking about. But
Oh no.
Wow.
No,
All right, JR, we got a lot we need to talk about.
okay.
But I'm glad to have met you. You're such a great force in the podcasting community, and even
Absolutely.
being together in the podcasting chat in the mornings, you bring a lot of knowledge. And
Yes.
I want to say thank you, and I really appreciate you taking time to come and hang out with us over here. And we hope this is not the last time we're seeing you. We're gonna have to have you back for some more gems as well.
Oh yeah, always. And one thing I want to say about you too, thank you for doing something positive for the world. Not a lot of people, one thing I do on my show is I give a quick little testimony, and this is a testimony I'm gonna give you too. We're not gonna do fortitude or any of those words that I use on my show. We're gonna do this right here. Community, love, and strength. We're gonna do all that in one thing. You all present that, y'all give it in a nice light. You're all wholesome to a degree. Sometimes y'all get a little rowdy, but y'all do. But here's the thing, like this chemistry, this is not manufactured or built. Too many times in duos, it's built, it's manufactured, it's forced. You all don't force it. It's not a yin and yang. It's kind of like apples and oranges with some grapes. So thank you all for that.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Absolutely. And yeah. And we will include the links for JR's content. And we really appreciate you sharing and the kind words. And let's see here. We hope that today's episode have you found it inspiring, and enlightening. If you found it meaningful, please consider sharing it and be sure to remember to subscribe, like, tell a friend. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. And we invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations. So, JR, please stick around a brief moment for our proper goodbye. And everyone else, take care.
Bye.